Very good morning to you all, dear students. I hope you're enjoying your life during the lockdown days. And our today's topic is education and social policy. And this is our lesson 13 on education chapter. So what is this policy? There are different policies. The first one is tripartite system, which was introduced in 1944 in Butler's Education Act. After the end of the Second World War, it was clear that those with the most access to education, either that was working class or the middle class, they should be given ample opportunity to get the education. As part of the aim to create a land fit for heroes, for the character building, for creating well-educated men in future, they introduced this act after the Second World War, that is the Butler's Education Act. And this is specially introduced for secondary education for all pupils, providing free education for up to the age 15. Then there are different types of the school, each catering for different aptitudes to fulfill the need of different aptitude kids, and made secondary education free for all pupils till age 15. So what are different types of the school? There are three kinds. The first one is grammar schools, offer an academic curriculum and access to higher education. They were for academic students who passed the 11th examination, 11 plus examination. The second, secondary moderate schools, offered a more practical curriculum and access to manual work for those who failed the 11 plus exam. The third kind is the technical schools existed in some areas to provide explicitly vocational education, total manual work or manual education for those who failed the 11 plus test. So now see, the grammar schools is only for the student for the higher academic curriculum education, and the secondary moderate schools is basically including the both aspects, the grammar schools aspects and the technical school aspect. The educational curriculum, practical, and then plus the manual work in secondary. In technical, just there is manual work. Rather than promoting meritocracy, the tripartite system and the 11 plus reproduced class inequality by channelizing the two social classes into different types of school that offered unequal opportunities. Because these elite schools and the grammar schools are specially designed to fulfill the needs of the elite and the middle class. Only these kids can get admission in those schools, and the working class kids can't get in there. So that's the reason this system created a wide difference between middle and upper class, and then on one hand and on the other hand, the working class kids are there. The system also discriminated against girls, often requiring them that they have to gain or get higher marks than boys on the 11th plus to gain a place at a grammar school. So more restriction is put especially on the girls, that they have to produce much better result than boys. In this case, they can get admission in those schools, elite schools or the grammar schools. The tripartite system also justifies inequality through the ideology that ability is inborn rather than product of a child's upbringing and the environment. So now you see here the elite class or the special rich class kids having the opportunities to get admission in the school because their upbringing was done in the ideal way, whereas the middle and the lower class and the working class kids don't have these opportunities according to their environment and their surroundings that they could be able to get quality education or the nourishment. So here is the point where inequality in education is produced. It was argued that ability could be identified early on in life through the 11th exam. In reality, however, a child's social class background greatly affects their chances at school. Working class or the majority of the middle school, I think, could not able to get admission at that time in these schools. However, the system still and its sports, what are the sporting points for this one? The first sporting point was there, it served many middle class families very well, such that even today it survives in the few areas of the country. We have also the grammar school here, all the private chains here in the Pakistan. Only the elite class can get admission there. It must also be remembered that it did provide almost guaranteed social mobility for those working class pupils who made it to grammar schools. Some recent research has gone so far as to suggest the system gave working class pupils more chances than they deserve. How? Here is the problem that if the working class kids having this ambition and their parents that they want to switch over, that's to do the social mobility, and they want to change their class, either they want to convert themselves from working class to the middle class or the middle class to the upper class. So here is they have the chance where they can change their fate and the destiny. In 1965, the Labour government, what they did, in the reaction of that Butler's Act 1944, what did they do? In 1965, the Labour government instructed all local authorities to submit plans for comprehensive reorganization. How? Facilities were upgraded so that the new comprehensive schools could provide a broad curriculum and more sporting and recreational or extracurricular activities. So here they tried their best, the government of the Labour Party, that they having the previous experience that there is a wide difference between the upper class and the lower class, introducing the Butler's Education Act. So they here said that there just should be ample, equal opportunity to every kid. So they here introducing here the same syllabus or the same school and the same curriculum. The comprehensive system during the 1950s, discontentment grew with the way in which the tripartite system limited the opportunities available to many students. The tripartite system had not succeeded in creating equality of opportunity. What might bring that ideal closer was to abolish selection at 11 and education all children in the same way, regardless of their class, ethnicity, gender, or ability. However, although there is evidence that comprehensive schools helped to reduce the class gap in achievement, the same thing here they wanted to finish, to end up the class discrimination or segregation. The system continued to produce class inequality on two reasons. The first one is the streaming. Here again saying that this system again still producing the class discrimination and inequality. How? Many comprehensives were streamed into ability groups, with middle class pupils placed in higher streams and working class pupils placed in lower streams. Again, there is segregation that students got admission and they segregate here that their students are the good, they are the bad, they are the weak, and they separated those all students. Ultimately, what was the outcome? That in category A, there were that rich families' kids, and whereas in category B, the lower classes communities' kids were there. Labeling Ball and others critics have shown that even where streaming is not present, the teachers were the main. They were labeling by their color, by the creed, by system, and discouraging the students and the working class peoples negatively and restricted their opportunities. Also, comprehensive legitimated inequality, especially through the myth of meritocracy. They brought the ranking system and the grade system where the intelligent students were segregated from the weak students, so that in future, through the meritocracy, the intelligent students can get good jobs and the weak students can get low job. Now all pupils went to the same school. It made it appear that they all had an equal opportunity regardless of the social class background. Again, another positive here, the same opportunities provided to every kid, and they were given this ample opportunities to perform better and to get good job in the future. The meritocracy, at least they tried their best. The government of the Labour Party, that they introduced the comprehensive schools where all the kids are studying in the same school under the same roof. So students, we have discussed the recap, just a quick up, that we have discussed the tripartite system, which was introduced in Act 1944, Butler's Act. What was there? They introduced the tripartite system. In what was the tripartite system? They segregated the schools in three different kinds: grammar schools, secondary schools, modern schools, and technical schools. And what was the purpose of the grammar schools? Only the curriculum, high-level curriculum was introduced, and students were taught. In secondary border, they were, if the students were not able to pass 11th grade, there was the practical curriculum plus manual work were there. In technical schools, there was just only the manual work if the students failed in 11th test. So this create social inequality and discrimination among the boys. Even the girls were given tough time, and the criteria that they have to produce more than boys marks than boys for getting admission in grammar schools. A lot of criticism imbued there against this tripartite system. Then the Labour government in 1965, they introduced the comprehensive schools. All schools are the same, and they provide a broad curriculum and more sporting and recreational activities in the same vein. Then they abolish all the selection at 11 and introduce the curriculum regardless of the class, ethnicity, gender, and ability. However, although there is evidence that still there are the discrimination through streaming and labeling, we discussed in the detail. No, today is the homework assignment. And what is this? What are the concepts of the tripartite and secondary system of the school and their salient features? You have to write it there, explain and assess their role in the attainment of the education. Here are the 5 marks for the upper mark, where you have to introduce the tripartite system and the secondary system and their salient features, and then later on for another 11 marks for the second part, explain and assess the role in the attainment of the education. Students, if you have any difficulty, let me know. I will try my best to satisfy your all answers. Thank you very much.